All right, so we are going to talk about how to actually find variance and standard deviation and go back and find mean and median and range. And there are so many applications you can do this on. Your textbook, which I have pulled up here just to a random page in 2.4, which is the current section we're working on, has availabilities to use Minitab, Excel, and your TI-84. So when I learned these, I do everything on my TI-84. It was very near and dear to my heart, but I understand that we all don't have these. What we all do have, and your textbook does have this stuff for Minitab, which will do it all together, but I want you to be able to use this outside the course as well. So I thought that the best way to introduce finding these measurements is to do it in Google Sheets, because that's something that you have and something that you will always have, and you can even have it on your phone. Sometimes when I'm working out of a Google Sheet, I can pull it up right here on my phone, and so it's something that's going to be really accessible to all of us. So that's my goal. So you're always going to be using Google Sheets. You can always type in Google Sheets, but if you're in your Google homepage, you can click here and get to your sheets. And we're just going to open a blank spreadsheet. And we can call this practice with finding measurements. Why not? All right. The other thing I'm going to do is I am just going to, since I opened up your textbook because I wanted to grab an example, this is quite a few values here, but I'm going to go ahead and type in each of these values right into my sheets. So maybe I'll pull this out and do a quick split screen here. I'm just going to type them as I go down. So 18, 27, 21, 14, 20, 20, 24, 11, 16, 7, 12, 22, 10, 15, 21, 34, 23, 13, 38, 16, 18, 30, 15, 30. So hopefully I needed 24 values there. When we're doing these by computer, they're always going to be larger data sets, even sometimes bigger than 30. When we try to do these things by hand, since it's kind of a long process, they'll be small data sets. So here we go. If we wanted to figure out how many we had in our thing, and this can actually go away now, we don't need that. So here is our thing. And what I have for you guys in Canvas is your Google Sheets cheats, which are just some of those commands. So this works just like Excel. So hopefully you're a little bit familiar and how to write different commands. So if I want to find my mode, the first thing I want to do is this right here. So we can always highlight our list. I love this part. There's a couple ways you can do this. So if you know how to do it another way, that's totally fine. And I just want to sort my data. So we can go to sort range right here, and I'm just going to click A to Z, and all that's going to do is put my data in order for me. So if I want to find my range, my biggest value is 38, my smallest value is 7, and so I can find that my range is 31, like that. Okay, if I want to find my mode using the computer, we always start with an equals when we're doing a formula, and I'm going to just type in mode. Mode is going to be fine. You can do multi and single, and that kind of stuff is funny, but we're just going to do straight up mode. And then in parentheses, it would go, we're going to do A1, and then we're going to go through A24. And that should show me what my mode is. So my mode was 15. Because the most in there are 2. So it should be 15. This won't list them all for you. If you wanted to list them all, we could try that again. And that's going to be multi. And this time, instead of typing them in, I can show you how you can just kind of highlight the data set that you want. And I missed. So let's make sure that we get all of them, A1 through A24, and it's going to pop out all of our modes. So it's going to kind of mess up with my data set, but 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, and 30 were all of our modes. They were all listed in there twice. So that's really nice to know that we can do mode. We can also do median. So you can see the median command comes up. And again, I just think it's quickest to highlight and go. If you disagree, then that's fine too. My median happens to be 19. So we could sit here, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and kind of work our way down to the middle. But that's going to be the quickest way we can do that. You may also find it helpful to give yourself like what the information is going to be. Mean, we haven't done mean yet. We did mode, and now next we're going to do mean. And then maybe we want to find our mean over here, just if we were going to keep that data so we know what the numbers are. That's just like an organizational thing for you. So I don't understand why they did this, but instead of writing mean, they're using average. So that's going to be equal average. And I'm pulling that right from here. So I had gone through mode is mode, median is median, your average, your variances, and your standard deviations. Those are going to be your codes. So you don't need to do any what ifs here. But I'm going to do my average. And again, I want that to be for these 24 values. And it's going to tell me that my average is 19.79. Awesome. Maybe I want my variance. Okay, variance. So this was, if I go back to that textbook here, I'll just read it to you. Sample office rental rates per square foot per year for Dallas are listed. Office rental rates. And it does say sample. So we're going to do all of our sample variances. So we're going to use S squared here is going to be equal. And as I start typing in var, you see your options come up. And if you toggle over those options, it tells you what they are, which is really nice and convenient. So since I want sample, I'm going to do var S. And again, I want it for these 24 values. And I get my variance is 60.34. The last thing I want is standard deviation. And you can see that standard deviation, again, for our sample is going to be STDEV equals STD. And they already start to pop up, so you can either type it out or you can use the button. And I'm just going to highlight all of my numbers. Again, if you don't want to highlight, because again, you're using this on an iPad most likely, and so it may not be as easy to click and scroll as it is for me here on my desktop, you can always type in, and I gave you the little cheat here, command your first, colon, your B. So no spaces, all caps, and you would just type that in. And I'm getting that my standard deviation is 7.768. Remember how we said standard deviation is just the square root of your variance? Let's take the square root of our variance, 60.346, and I get that 7.68. So that's where that number is coming from. I can even show you equal square root. We want the square root of this number. It would give us the same value. I also want to show you how to, if you were more unfamiliar with Sheets and you haven't used it in a while, if you want to find anything, maybe we want to find the sum, all right, and you don't remember how to do that, you can always go into, when you're in a box, you can always go into data, and then you want to, insert function. And then they kind of do, these are the main ones that people use: sum, average, count, max, min. But there's so many things in here. There's some financial ones. You could go through, and again, if you toggle over it, it tells you what they all are. Some Google ones, some basic math. So maybe I wanted to turn something into degrees. Maybe I wanted to use modular arithmetic. If I wanted products, quotients, turn something into radians. So there's sequences, series, things like that. You want your statistical one. So these are where you're going to find everything that we're going to use for statistics. So maybe later in the year, we'll use binomial distributions. You have your averages. We have different tests in here. We have our chi-tests, f-tests, t-tests. In fact, there should be a lot of t-tests down here. Yeah, our standard deviations, we have some t-tests. So there's a lot of different things in there. And I already forgot which one I said we were going to go back and do. Maybe it was just a basic math one. Maybe we want the sum of our values. And this was our sum. Okay, So that is what you're going to do for some of your practice problems. I want you to practice using Google Sheets. If you do things other ways, that's okay, but then let me know the source you're using. I'm going to assume that you guys are using Google Sheets and not Excel or not Minitab or not the TI-84, because sometimes the values come out a little differently, and that's just because of how many values they're truncating or rounding to. So I'm always going to assume that these, so if they don't match with your back of the book as well, these are the ones I want you using. Use your Google Sheets, print it out, or write it down if you need to, and absolutely ask me any questions you might have. I hope this helps.